Well, May was another fantastic month. It's not one where I fished many matches, but having a quick look back at what I've been up to, it's been very, very busy. I've obviously continued working Monday through to Friday, my full-time job, but it's been a month of finalisation for a lot of the things that I do as regards my videos and media production side of things. One where I've really tied everything together now, and it's great to have that behind me, which I'll tell you more about in a little while. I was fortunate enough to be on round one of the Feeder Masters Super League, so I've got some footage of that and some news about it for you. I've also been flying and crashing drones. I've been out a couple of times coaching with a couple of great lads that were really enthusiastic, and it just made it a pleasure to be on the bank with. And I've also been exploring the huge world of ground baits that are available in today's fishing tackle shops. But today I managed to steal a day off work. It's a Wednesday morning. It's the third qualifier in the Feeder King series at Southfield Reservoir. So today I've brought you along just so you can follow me through this match. But the first thing to do is go and get a breakfast and hopefully draw a good peg. Peg 32. That was alright. Sat and had the breakfast with Steve Ringer, who kindly has just given me £150, which has been in his glove box since the last World Pairs from the presentation evening, so that's a nice little bonus. I've got the scales, like I said, peg 32. It's a fair spot as any, I think. I'm not sure what the end peg is going to be there today. There will be an end peg just to my left, might be peg 31 or 30, something like that. So yeah, so I'm going to go and get parked up and I'll see you down on the bank. When I said earlier about May being a month of kind of finalisation, it's the finish of a lot of hard work that I've been putting in place as regards the video productions that I produce. My channel is growing quicker than ever, and so is my other membership channel, Patreon TV. That's growing quicker than ever as well, and that's, you know, fantastic for me to see, because it just makes me want to keep producing videos, and I know a lot of you enjoy those videos. They become a large part of my fishing now. I'm here competing to try and get in a major final, but I'm here filming as well. And obviously working on a full-time job, this is the only way I can produce this sort of thing, but I just love sharing these experiences with a lot of people out there that just aren't fortunate enough to be involved in them like I am. What I've really been doing through May is just kind of finding ways of storing a lot of the video footage that I create and produce, and the systems and procedures as regards uploading videos, the way that I edit them, is kind of finalised now. The systems that I've got in place mean that I can produce far more videos a lot quicker, a lot easier, and obviously that's making it a lot more enjoyable, and it's meaning I can upload frequently as well. So for those people that love to see the events that I'm involved in and all the people that I meet along the way in these fantastic venues, then obviously I hope that's good news for you to hear, because you're going to be seeing a lot more of the coverage of the events instead of just a Facebook post that I know a lot of people put on Facebook, just a summary of the match. I like to kind of give you a feel for it, and just give you the opportunity to sit back at home and watch and see how these events pan out and what they're all about. That set up, and as you can imagine, the wind's blowing like it always is on here, so I'm gonna have to watch it on the mic. Yeah, peg 32. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm the fifth angler in. Yeah, well, I mean, we're actually in with the canal bank, which is over there, so that's all part of our zone. For those that don't know the format of this match, just to keep you in the picture, it's a 60 peg match. It's the same format as Feeder Masters, 3 zones of 20 anglers, and the winner from each 20 zone section goes through to the final, which is £10,000 to the final, to the winner of the final. I fished one of these up to now, didn't do anything, drew a little bit further down to my right, wasn't very good. I had to sell my other ticket. Steve Ringer bought my other ticket, and he drew bad as well, but he didn't qualify, but that's why he's here again today. But I'll quickly show you my kit. I'm going to be fishing 3 lines today. I'm going to be fishing 15 metres, 25 and 50, simple as that. Cover 3 lines. They can catch short here sometimes. As you can see, the wind's blowing in. Always looks appealing when it's like that. So I've got 3 lines set up, 3 rods set up. So I'll quickly show you the kit. I've got the Horizon 3000 reel on the short line. That is coupled with 6 pound carp mono, and that I'm fishing that with an Horizon carp feeder, the 3.3 metre. That's clipped up at 15 metres. I've then got the XS Slim, which is a rod that I love. The XS Slim Horizon with a fixed rig, 3.3 metres, and I've got that coupled with another Horizon 3000 reel, but that time that's with braid. And then my longer line, which is 50 metres, I've got the 3.6 metre Horizon XC, which is there, and that is coupled with an original Aquas 5000 reel. That's purely because my new Horizon reel has actually they've got mono on there. I'm in a match in 2 days' time at Barston Lakes, and my 5000 reels are kitted up with mono for that match, because I've only got tomorrow, in which I would have to change everything round, and because I'm at work I haven't got a chance to do that, so I'm fishing with the original Aquas 5000 on that longer line. Bait tray is really simple. A lot of you have seen my live matches over the last few months on this venue on my channel, so a lot of this is very, very familiar to you. The mix that I'm using is 50-50 ringers, natural and dark, which is the same mix I used all spring series. Got some dead pinkies, some dead maggots, and obviously we're bream fishing, so I've got plenty of worms and some casters as well. Super simple. Like I say, I'm going to fish 3 lines. I'm going to start long, then look at the middle line, and then look at the short line later on, and hopefully there's going to be some action for you. One of the key bits of kit for a lot of the videos that I produce, not when I'm on live matches like this, is the use of a drone. You know, it can capture some absolutely stunning images, and it gives you a great feel for the venue. You know, it really puts everything in perspective, and it makes the experience for the viewer much more enjoyable and more in depth. I feel as though I've become a man during May, because I crashed my first drone. A lot of people ask me about a lot of the equipment I use. It's a Phantom 3 that I've been using, and I've had it and used it for about 1.5 years, 2 years now. And I've actually been out during May just kind of getting some stock footage. So for example, if I've had some work to do in the morning and I've had a spare afternoon, like on a Saturday or whatever, or I've had something else to do, but I managed to get out for a couple of hours, I've been able to get out, obviously without my tattle, but just take the drone and get some incredible footage of some of the venues that I am fishing, and a lot of the venues that I'm going to be fishing in future. Because obviously when I'm on an occasion like this, the last thing I really want to be doing, and I haven't got time to get a drone out. So yeah, I was at Southfield Reservoir, and for some reason, it was something to do with the signal, it was kind of really slow to respond, and there was a bit of a warning flashing up, and so whenever I was given the drone instructions with the controller, it was taking a little bit longer to respond than normal. Yeah, and unfortunately I was just returning to base on this occasion, and the drone met with a tree, which, as you can imagine, in an argument or a confrontation like that, the tree is always going to win. So it ended up crashing to earth and did a little bit of damage. It coincided with, amazingly, it was 1 day after I'd actually ordered and bought a new drone, so maybe that was fate, I don't know. So I will be getting that one repaired. I'll be sticking that on eBay or whatever, but I have a new drone now, a very sexy new drone, which I've been getting to grips with, and hopefully the use of that is going to be making a lot of these videos a lot more interesting and a lot more in depth for you. I've also managed to get out and do a couple of coaching sessions which I really enjoyed, and I don't tend to film most of those, you know, just because that's obviously a bit of a kind of a private bit of time between myself and whoever's booked the session with me, so I don't always like to film those. But I've got quite a few bookings coming up through the summer, and I've really enjoyed those sessions. I love the enthusiasm of the lads that come along for those coaching sessions, so thank you for making those so enjoyable through me, if you're watching, any of you lads. One of the things I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to do is spend a few hours on the bank and spend some time with my dad. You know, it's my dad who got me into fishing at the end of the day, and I owe a lot to him. When I went through junior rankings, when I fished for England as a youth, obviously all that was just kind of through the support of my father. So whenever I can get a spare day off, which I do, you know, I don't like to fish 2 matches every weekend or anything like that. I like to go and try stuff out and just kind of try and keep on top of my game. And obviously there's a lot of things you can't do during matches, so I do like a few hours away. I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to do that on most occasions where I can take my dad along. I actually managed to get along to Sherwood Forest Farm Park Fishery, which is a place I haven't fished for about 10 years. It's a lovely fishery, and I don't really see much about it in the match reports as such recently, so I wasn't sure what it was like, but we ended up there. And I managed to have a full day's pole fishing, which is something I'm going to be doing more of this year. I love pole fishing, and I've had some great results pole fishing in the past, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. And admittedly my pole kit isn't quite as up to scratch as what it should be, but obviously I've only been using it once a year, and that's been in September for the World Pairs in Ireland. That's obviously not too far away now, and I need to start getting my kit right for that, because that's the kind of competition over there in Ireland where, you know, if you draw a pole peg, you've really got to capitalise on it. And you know, so I'm going to be doing more pole fishing on venues over here, obviously in England. So yeah, it was a great session. You know, I caught some fish long, I caught some fish short and shallow, caught some skimmers, some bream, some nice beautiful rudd as well, and it was just really nice to fish where it was really comfortable. A picturesque lake as well, it was only shallow, caught loads of fish, and I actually did 2 videos whilst I was there as well, which are on my channel. One was about fishing shallow, or a way of fishing shallow and catching skimmers at a fraction of the depth that you're actually faced with, and the other one was it's a 30-minute video. It's just an end-to-end video of how my session went. You know, it's not an instructional thing or anything daft like that, how to, it's nothing like that. It's just a video document of the day that we had there. And Dad caught loads of fish. He fished a waggler all day in about 4 feet of water with soft pellet. He loved it. It was really nice and comfortable, and yeah, it was one of those days that I need personally to take a break, obviously away from work where I'm in the office, and away from match fishing where it's obviously quite intense as well, where every decision counts. It's nice to go for a few hours and just kind of just recharge the batteries and clear your head and enjoy your fishing for what it is. And obviously, you know, to be fishing with a pole again was great, and we caught loads of fish, and like I say, it was a great opportunity to have a few hours with Dad. So I realise how lucky I am to be able to do that. So yeah, May was very much about just kind of taking stock and just enjoying fishing for you know, for what it is. Right then, just had a walk down the match length, said hello to everyone. It's great to see so many faces that I don't get a chance to see. Fantastic atmosphere on these matches, you know, it's bream fishing, it's feeder fishing. I think it's because they're so laid back, a lot of them, and a lot of the matches you've got so much time on your hand in between bites because the fishing's not exactly hectic. You've got plenty of time to talk and just have a bit of a laugh, so it's always a massive part of enjoying our match fishing. Just a couple of minutes before the off now, I'm just going to cut some worms. The approach is going to be, I'm going to start at 50 metres. I'm only going to feed my 25 metre and 50 metre line at the start, but I'm going to fish at 50 metres to start with, see how that goes, see what happens around me, then at some stage drop back onto 25 metres. I'm not going to feed my 50 metre line until halfway during the match. That's a decision I've just made, and I haven't really done that on here before, but the last 2 or 3 times I've fished on this long bank, it's just not worked. I've fed it from the off, and I think I fed it too heavy, too soon, and it's not worked. Now I haven't been here for a few weeks, but that's the approach I'm going to give it today. Everything's in place. I've got the camera set up for you as well, so hopefully there's going to be some action for you to see on there. But yeah, we're fishing 10:30 till 4, and I'll check in with you after the first hour. Followers to my YouTube channel will know that I'm no longer connected with one single bait company. That was a decision that I made a couple of months ago, and it's one that's kind of opened up so many different new paths and avenues for me. Typically in here that is one big box of ground bait. It's from a company called Pollard, and I'm going to be looking at so many different ground bait mixes now. I've started a series on my YouTube channel where I'm going to be looking at lots of different mixes. Obviously this is one of them here, but there's the win-win range. I'm going to be recapping on some of the bait tech mixes that I've won money with and had success with in the past. We've got some Van den Eyne mixes as well. We've got some spotted fin, and I've also got some ringers, some of the ringer mixes as well. I mean, a lot of you know that I use the ringers dark and natural here at Southfield Reservoir through the spring series, which was incredibly successful, and I think that mix was spot on. But now, the position I'm in now, I can review all these mixes, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I've been kind of taking stock of the mixes that I've already got through May. I'm putting a bit of a filming schedule together where I can go through different mixes. I'm going to be doing tank tests with them. I'm going to be going out and fishing with them, mixing them up in front of you, you know, and it's just kind of a bit of a buyer's guide, if you want to call it that, where I can literally do all the experimenting for you. You know, a lot of these ground baits are not cheap. You know, they might be £5–6 a bag, some of them, and you don't really want to go out spending your hard-earned money buying a ground bait, you know, if it's going to be something that's different from what you've actually bought it for. These are all new mixes to me, and there's lots of other new mixes that I've never seen before, and you know, I've already started down this incredible journey where, you know, it's really opening my eyes to mixes about what they're capable of, and you know, the differences in them, and I can certainly see lots of different applications where a lot of these mixes can be used in my own fishing. So hopefully you're going to be enjoying that little bit of a journey where I'm going to be highlighting and showcasing a lot of the mixes that you might not have heard about. So that's been a very important part of me, just kind of putting a filming schedule together. If there's one thing I've learnt, and it's that by planning videos and planning your days out and your sessions, you get a lot more work done rather than just getting on the bank and winging it. By planning it, you make the most of your time on the bank. And obviously when time's precious, we're all very busy, we've all got work lives, we've all got family lives, and obviously you want time for your actual fishing as well. And you know, if you can be more efficient with that time that you've got, then surely it's a winner. We are 1 hour in. It's fishing incredibly hard, just like Southfield does. I've got one fish, one little hybrid, about 4 ounce, probably the smallest one in here. I had that first cast, beautiful drop back bite on 2 pieces of worm, and that's it. That's the only sign I've had. As you can see, that wind's dropped a little bit. But it still looks ideal. It's not very warm, to be fair, but the story so far is I've had that one bite, one fish, 4 ounce. Matt Godfrey, who's second from the end peg down to my left, you can't quite see. he's just netted his second fish. The lad coming back towards him on peg 30, which I think is the peg that Lee Kerry qualified on this competition. He's got 2 fish. Mark Deacon on my left hasn't had a sign yet. I've obviously got the 1 fish, and the lad on my right, he's got one about 1.5 pounds, and then 1 small hybrid like mine. And then the next one along is Glenn Lawrence, and I think he's got 1 small fish. So it's fishing very hard. We haven't heard how the canal bank's fishing. I've had 1 cast on my 25 metre line, never had a sign. So this is my first cast, back long at 50 metres. Just going to have to rotate these 2 lines for the next hour or so, and keep my eyes open just to see if there is one line that looks better than the other. But this is Southfield. It often requires a bit of patience. We're 2 hours in, and I haven't caught any more fish. He's still fishing hard. There's been 1 or 2 more fish caught. Down to my left, I haven't seen any more fish caught in that last period, except Mark Deacon on my left. He just had his first fish, an half decent skimmer, but interestingly he caught that on his 15 metre line. Lad on my right has now got 2 net fish. So he's got 1 proper one about 1.5 pounds, and then that little tiny hybrid. And then Glenn Lawrence to his right, he's got 2 net fish now. And the other interesting thing is, Glenn's had both of his decent fish short, 15 metres. So when I saw that first fish caught on that line, I decided to feed my line then. I was going to do it halfway through the match, but if there's fish that close, that early on in the match, I felt I needed to feed it a bit earlier. So I fed it with 2 big cages. I put about 1/2 pint of ground bait on that with about 100 ml of feed in it. That was half an hour ago. So I'm just going to give it a bit longer on this longer line, 50 metre line. I haven't had any more indications. And hopefully there's going to be 1 or 2 fish settle on that 15 metre line. I still haven't had any other indications at 25 metres. So after 2 hours, it's just not working. I'm going to step it up a little bit. It's one of the things you sometimes after doing these competitions, we're after winning 20 pegs today, and we've no idea how the canal bank over there. We don't know how that's fishing, but I'm at least 2 or 3 fish behind where I really need to be right now. So I'm going to push my peg a little bit. There's still 3 hours left, but I'm going to push it. I'm only here to try and qualify. I'm not here to win a 5 peg section or a 10 peg section. I'm here to win the 20 pegs, and right now I need to get back on track and get a couple of decent fish. So I'm going to fish a slightly bigger upbait now, size 14 hook, fish some worm, and try and snare 1 or 2 net fish. Mark's just had 2 in 2 casts. Brilliant. He's just gone long, had a fish, cast in, it's gone straight round again. So he's had 2 in 2 chucks. Glenn on my right, who was catching really well, he's really slowed down now. I haven't had another sign. It's just I don't know why. Simple as that. I haven't had a sign. Just trying on my middle line now, that 25 metre line, but I'm not getting any indications whatsoever. That wind's dropping slightly, as you can see. But I'm just not getting any signs whatsoever. I have pushed my peg, of course. I'm needing at least 5 net fish to even stand a chance of winning this zone. and the more it's like this, the more it's looking like the only place that's going to happen, or where I'm going to get those fishes, on that 15 metre line where I've fished it quite positive. So it could certainly be, or it's certainly shaping up to be, a last hour job, but I'm hoping that short line is going to come strong and I'm going to catch some better fish, or some fish on that line. But I'm trying to rest it now. I'm trying not to go on it and just leave it, so that, you know, if anything does rock up on there, or a number of fish rock up on there, I want them to get their heads down and be settled, so when I go on it, I'm not only going to catch one, I might have a run of fish. It's a gamble I've got to take. Well, that was probably the most uneventful match I have ever filmed anywhere, never mind just here. Absolutely horrendous. One bite all day, first cast, that is it, that's what I finished on. Never had a sign that last period when I spent it on that short line, never, not a liner, nothing. Really disappointing, but that's what it is. You know, this place has been incredibly kind to me over the last few weeks. I've had a really good run, so I guess I was due a bad one, but that's bream fishing and that's natural venues, and it's certainly this venue that's, we've called on many occasions, the Moody Mistress. It sounds like Mike Godfrey down to my left, the second peg in from the end, may have won the zone. He's got £20 plus, he's just ticked over, and by the looks of it, he's caught all his fish long, which is quite interesting, because Glenn, who's done the best just here, who's probably got about £13, who's down to my right, 2 pegs to my right, has caught most of his fish short. So I'll let you read into that, wherever you want to read into that. I've got a match in 2 days time at Barston, but I'm going to have to get packed up because I've got the scales, so I'm just going to get my kit packed away and then get all these lads weighed in. There we go, saved a blank anyway. Very welcome first chuck, but that's it, 5 hours worth of effort. That's fishing. Well, fishing wise, that was really disappointing. I guess it would be even more disappointing had I not seen that exact scenario happen so much over the last couple of months. Fishing in May on that reservoir, that's how it is, you know, the water's still cold. Obviously the fish, they're coming out of winter, and as soon as it warms up the slightest little bit, they obviously then think about spawning. And you know, there was a lot of rain last night, the water temperatures are up and down, but I don't want to make too many excuses about how today has actually fished. There's quite a few anglers not weighed in today, but that is just typical natural water bream venue type fishing, certainly at Southfield as well. That she is a Moody Mistress, and yeah, I've had an incredible few weeks there. I've really enjoyed fishing there in the Spring League, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen the footage of on my channel. And you know, I guess I was due a bad day, and that was the one. Hopefully never to be repeated. But yeah, I've seen that scenario happen to so many anglers over the last few weeks, so I do know those kind of days exist. And but it's been a good day. It's been a day off work. I've enjoyed seeing the lads, I've enjoyed fishing, the weather's been alright, and yeah, it's been great to see a lot of the lads, and just nice to compete in this event, you know, with these matches taking place on Wednesdays. I've never had, you know, a chance previously like last year to compete in this event, purely because I was always at work, but I made a point of fishing one or two of them. So I've got one more ticket, which is in June, so hopefully I'll draw on a few fish and hopefully I'll get it right. But and who knows if any more tickets come up, you know, because there are more qualifiers after that. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But that has been a typical snapshot on what that kind of a venue can be like during May. Well, another event that I was fortunate enough to go along and see was the first round of the Feeder Masters Super League. at Southfield Reservoir. There's a theme developing here, isn't there? I had some work to do during the morning and at home in Sheffield, but I knew I could get along to Southfield Reservoir in time for well, just before the start of the match, and so I kind of ran the bank for ringer baits. As long as you know that I fish the world qualifiers every year for ringer baits, which is a superb team to be part of. I'm very privileged to be there, but I don't fish in their teams of 4, which is their feeder masters team. They like to keep the same 4 for every round, and they're a fantastic team. They've won it the previous 2 years, so they're obviously gunning to win it again this year. And it was great, you know. I mean, there were some hard areas as always, and they ended up second on the day, ringer baits. Massive congratulations to team DGG, Dean Barlow and Co, who won the day. Phil Ringer had the top individual weight. I had the opportunity to go over there for the last hour, and I saw him catch a few fish. He fished just next to, well, it was next peg to Lee Kerry, but it's where the reservoir runs into the canal. There's a peg either side of the bridge, and Phil was on the right hand peg, and Phil had a great day, £40 plus of bream. Great, fantastic way to see that weight put together. It's not very often. Obviously I fished quite a bit with Phil in that team event and 1 or 2 other matches and stuff, and it's not often I get a chance to see him fish, obviously in the World Championships, but that's obviously only once a year, so it's good to see Phil and see him catching a few bream. I can see he thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a brilliant competition, you know. I know I'm sticking my neck out a little bit by saying this, but that's my opinion, and that is that I think that competition now, the Feeder Masters Super League, which is a team of 4 event over 5 rounds, 5 different venues, feeder only, I think it's got probably one of the biggest buzzers of a team event, more than any other in the UK at the moment. You know, there's such a buzz around that competition, and it's one that, you know, I only fished the first year, and I thoroughly loved being part of it, but I haven't been with the team last year and this year, but it was a great event to be part of. Very, very well run by Lee Kerry and Mick Viles and the Feeder Masters team. So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses through the next 4 rounds. Well, it's been a fantastic month. As always, I've been very, very busy both on and off the bank. Thanks for logging on and watching what I've been up to through May, and like I say, I've got more matches coming up. I've certainly got 2 big matches within the next week or so that I will be filming for you, and if anyone's interested in live match footage like what I've shown you today, obviously some of them got a lot more action than today, then those live matches are over on my YouTube channel, the Catch Fishing channel, where I just kind of take the cameras along onto a lot of the open matches that I fish. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see you all next month for another catch up.